Yo, what's poppin', people? Your boy Snacks is back in the building with another banger. And y'all know how we do. Before we get started, we got to give a shout out to you, the viewer, for taking the time out to watch this video. But while you're here, do us a solid, hit that like button, hit the subscribe button, and don't forget to turn your post notification bell on. And as you always know, we cannot and will not do a video without giving a shout out to the beautiful ladies of the CU Auntie. So when you see a CU Auntie in the street or in the comment section or in the chat or one of my videos, make sure you say what's up, be respectful at all times. Because if you act up, we will come find you out here in these internet streets and give you the business. But we are not holding up today, because today we need to talk about some things. And it's going to get a little bit real. It's going to get a little bit dicey. We're going to touch a subject that a lot of people don't want to touch. So, your written expression in the comment section is necessary. We want to hear your thoughts and everything. So, let's get about this show. Let's do what we do. Let's go. Now, as we know, this week has been a hell of a ride for Shedeur. It has been an amazing week, and it has also been a heavy media-driven week. Why? You may ask. Shedeursanders is the most scrutinized, talked about, and beloved and hated player in the NFL right now. Being a 5th round pick, a projected 1st round pick, a player that is more famous than the franchise that he's playing for, a player that moves the needle on every aspect of the NFL, a player that headlines Sports Center, Get Up, and any sports show on linear television. Shedeursanders is that guy. Shedeursanders is the guy that a lot of people love to hate, because his father was famous, because his father was very brash and outspoken and told the truth when it comes to a lot of things in life. The sins of the father have been bestowed upon the son. And the people in the NFL that couldn't touch Deion Sanders when he was playing football, because he's one of the greatest players to ever lace him up, to ever touch the gridiron. A lot of things in the NFL that Deion did, a lot of the old guard hated. They didn't like Deion Sanders as a player. They really hated him as a person outside of football because of his popularity, because of the things that were bestowed upon him. Deion Sanders changed the game in many ways. When playing, he locked down one side of the field. He took away your number one receiver on defense. On offense, he was virtually that guy that could change the momentum of a football game at any point in time. In kick return and punt return, he was just explosive. When Deion touched it, we knew it was 6 points. They knew it was 6 points. And when he reached that end zone, or most of the time before he reached the end zone, he was already showing out. He was already high stepping. He had his hands behind his head. But when he reached that end zone, when he did his dance, he also gave praise to the Most High. And that balance upset a lot of people. Now comes the age of Deion Sanders, the coach. And who does he coach? But his sons. And who is one of the best quarterbacks in college football but Deion Sanders' son? Mind you that Deion Sanders showed up in college football out of nowhere. He didn't take the typical route of being a GA, a position coach, an offensive coordinator, then a head coach. He just went straight to head coach. And they'd hate that too. Because just because you're Deion Sanders, you think you can come in here and do what you want to do. And at Colorado and Jackson State, Deion Sanders has changed the way football is done. With cameras everywhere, documentaries being filmed every season, and being hosted every weekend by Fox, ABC, ESPN, CBS, TNT on each Saturday or Friday. Whenever the Colorado Buffaloes are playing, you are guaranteed to see Deion Sanders and his team on your television. And a lot of people don't like that. And all of that has been thrust upon his quarterback's son, Shedeur Sanders, which finds us in a position where up until the week of the NFL draft, Shedeur Sanders was projected to be the first or the second quarterback taken off the board, minus Cam Ward, when we realized that Tennessee was locked in. Cam Ward was going first. Cleveland Browns had the second pick. New York Giants had the third. And what we expected was Cleveland to take Shedeur or Travis Hunter. Instead, Cleveland traded that pick. Shedeur was never drafted in the first or the second or the third or the fourth round. Shedeur Sanders was drafted in the fifth round, not because he couldn't play the game of football, not because he wasn't a good football player, not because he didn't lead his team to prominence in the college football world, because he was Deion Sanders' son. Because the week of that NFL draft, rumors were being spread that Shedeur Sanders did not take anything seriously, that he did not take his interview seriously, that he was showing up to his interviews unprepared, not doing the right things. And when he got up on that podium and he said, if you're not looking to change your franchise, if you're not looking to change your culture, then don't draft me. Which the old guard in the NFL, which some people in the NFL are still there in their positions of power when Deion Sanders played. Some of the players that played against Deion Sanders are now in positions of power on some NFL teams. Some of the coaches that coach are now in positions of power, and our head coaches are in positions where they affect the draft. And they made sure that Shedeur Sanders was not going to be drafted until the Cleveland Browns threw it all up in the air and said, screw it. That's our guy. I don't care what they say. I've held up my end of the bargain. He didn't go in the first round or the second or the third. But now, in this fifth round, Shedeur Sanders is still on the board. So the Cleveland Browns traded 2 6th-round picks to move up in front of the Philadelphia Eagles, who were coming to get Shedeur Sanders. They drafted him. But 2 rounds ahead of Shedeur, they drafted Dylan Gabriel. And now the football world is wondering, why would you draft 2 rookie quarterbacks when you have Joe Flacco, when you have Kenny Pickett already on your staff? You got 4 quarterbacks. But this is going to be an open competition, stated Browns head coach Kevin Stefanski. This is going to be an equal evaluation of all 4 quarterbacks to see who's going to be our starter for this season, which we all knew was a lie, but that was his statement. And throughout the preseason, the OTAs, the NFL rookie camps, and all of that, Kevin Stefanski's feet has been held to the fire. The public, the press have been making it known that, hey, you said this was an open competition, and it seems that it's not, because Joe Flacco, Kenny Pickett, Dylan Gabriel, they're all getting reps with the first team. They're all getting equal playing time to see who's going to be the starter. But Shedeur Sanders is not getting those reps, even though in those practices, ESPN Cleveland were keeping stats when they were allowed to visit those practices. And Shedeur Sanders was always on top. Shedeur Sanders was always on top with touchdowns, completion percentages, completed passes, and interceptions, 0. So to the naked eye, to the world around them, Shedeur Sanders was outperforming his counterparts, but yet and still, Shedeur Sanders was still getting reps with the scrubs, with the 3rd and 4th team, with the people that weren't eventually going to make the Cleveland Browns football team and aren't playing on the practice team and probably not playing on any other NFL franchise. Preseason came out. Shedeur Sanders started that first preseason game, had a good game, put on a good showing, scored his first touchdown, put up good stats, and showed the NFL world what he could do. The world was abuzz. People were praising. They were going crazy. Shedeur Sanders is electric. The second game, all of a sudden, Shedeur Sanders was sidelined with abdominal soreness. Dylan Gabriel got the start. Dylan Gabriel threw 2 picks. He threw a pick 6. Also had a fumble. Game 3. Joe Flacco starts the game. Dylan Gabriel plays the second quarter very well. Coming out of halftime, Shedeur Sanders is rolled out onto the field, but he's not rolled out with the same staff of players that Joe Flacco and Dylan Gabriel had. He is sent out on the field with receivers that are not going to play, with linemen that are not going to be picked up on the team. And he plays poorly. He gives up 5 sacks, doesn't get 3 completions out of 6 passes, not that many yards. Horrible game. And that is what the world remembers. That is what the world talks about. That game that was played, and that how horrible Shedeur Sanders looked. They didn't go back to the Carolina Panther game where he was being praised for being unbelievable, for making tight window passes, for stepping away from sacks and making touchdown passes, for completing passes down the field that are NFL, that's an NFL throw, they say. But all of a sudden, Shedeur Sanders is pushed to the back of the line after Kenny Pickett is traded. And the season starts. And the Cleveland Browns and Joe Flacco are horrible, as we all predicted. The defense is stellar. The defense is magnificent. playing out of their mind. But Joe Flacco is a shell of himself. He's a statue in the pocket, can't move, can't run around, can't avoid sacks. Through game 4, Joe Flacco is 6 picks, 2 forced fumbles, and bad on the touchdowns. He has more interceptions than games played and touchdowns thrown. Insert Dylan Gabriel into game 5 to present day is where we are now. Headed to London to play the Minnesota Vikings. Now, this is where we get into the minutia. So grab your seatbelt, get you a drink, get what you need, because this is where the media needs to be held accountable. Shedeur Sanders is the third string quarterback on the Cleveland Browns. Has been since the season started. Shedeur Sanders is also the most interviewed quarterback on the Cleveland Browns. Has been since the season started. Shedeur Sanders is the most popular player on the Cleveland Browns, besides 95 Myles Garrett, who you see with him there. But let's be reminded that Lil Dylan is the starting quarterback now for the Cleveland Browns, just pushed up ahead of Joe Flacco to be the starting quarterback moving into week 5. But how we get here is 1 week ago, earlier this week, or was it last week? It was last week. Shedeur Sanders gave an exclusive interview to ESPN Cleveland at his locker.
So Pops just recently went on the New Heights podcast and he said he gave you advice to stay ready and said that your time is going to come, that he believes it's going to come shortly. So what is your reaction to saying that?
Just some, I focus on each and every day on what I got to do, and just because where I am on the depth chart, don't let that dictate, my mindset each and every day, because you don't know what happened or what could happen. So it's really, just keeping the mindset of just staying locked in, staying into everything, and remaining focused on the main thing.
Do you feel like you're kind of close to getting to where you want to be in terms of, getting a chance to play this game?
I don't think playing or not playing, is in my hands. I think based on the situation, it's if things happen, things pan out where I play, then I'll be out there and I'll be ready to play. I'm ready to play right now.
He had a great quote where he said, you don't learn anything. I've never sat on the bench and said, I learned a lot today.
Yeah.
Do you agree with him on that? What were your thoughts when he said that?
Everybody perspective, so that's not nothing, in my place to answer. That's nothing I can't not answer, but I know for sure I'm not I know if you see the quarterback play in the league right now, I know I'm capable of doing better than that.
So how do you feel like you've been progressing so far? Reps that you have gotten.
Yeah, overall, I feel like I'm doing great. I'm doing what I need to do each and every day. I remaining focused, remaining mind on the complete mission. Not really get comfortable. I'm not comfortable being a scout team player. Honestly, that's my situation. So I'm gonna make the best of it. And enjoy my moments. But overall, this isn't my end goal. I'm just enjoying myself, learning, doing everything I have to do, and just ready for my opportunity.
How frustrating can that be when you look around the league and you can play well, better than some of the other quarterbacks, having to kind of sit in patience? How frustrating can that be? How do you kind of feel?
I mean, I know it's not the guys playing right now. If that was a situation, it's obvious. A lot of teams will be playing me, but that's not in guys playing right now. And some things happen for a reason, and I'm a true believer in that. And whatever his plan for me is, I believe in it. So I don't get stressed or get or feel bad, that I'm in this situation I'm in right now. But it kind of, I would say, just make me. It's just funny to me. That's it. Everything is just funny to me, and I just enjoy it.
And out of that interview, there was one thing taken that he said, that he was, if you look around the league and you see the quarterback play, and he said that I think that I can play better than a lot of those quarterbacks that are playing right now. And the old guard had a fit was the most talked about thing in that interview. Never mind him saying that he was not comfortable with being on the practice team. Never mind him saying that he's just sitting there waiting on his opportunity. This is God's plan, not his plan. So he's just waiting to do his part. He can't control when he starts. It's not his decision to when he starts. He's just going to be able to do what he can do and wait his turn. But out of all of that, the worst comment was, he's better than some of the quarterbacks playing in the NFL right now. And a lot of us would argue he ain't lying. He ain't lying. He's telling the truth. But one man took it and ran with it. An old NFL ex-quarterback who has a losing record as a head coach, who is the same profile that Shedeur Sanders is, got his existence and name in the NFL because his father was a great NFL mind. His brother is still a great NFL mind, but he was the loudest of the three. Mr. Rex Ryan, son of Buddy Ryan, one of the greatest defensive minds in NFL football. Rex Ryan, being a Nepo baby himself, hates the fact that Shedeur made the statement that he made. So much so that Rex Ryan decided to express himself on ESPN.
Stefanski is one of an outstanding coach. All right. But why the hell isn't he putting Shedeur Sanders? We're all waiting to see the Shedeur Sanders be the guy, or Gabriel, whatever. Something's missing. Something's missing with this kid. This kid talks. He runs his mouth like I could be a starting quarterback with his arms crossed like this. Get your ass in the front row and study and do all that. If I know, the whole league knows. Quit being an embarrassment that way. You got the talent to be the quarterback. You should be. You should be embarrassed that you're not the quarterback now.
We'll see if they make a change there.
Now, Rex Ryan has always been a big talker. Even when he was a head coach, Rex Ryan was loud and obnoxious because of his last name, because of his father, because that NFL coaching pedigree that was thought to be in his bloodline, and the guy that was the son of one of the most respected NFL coaches in the league, they let him get away with it. Because he was in that fraternity of coaches, because his father was one of the greatest coaches to coach the game of football, he got pass after pass after pass. even after all of the scandals, his wife and the feet pics, even after the butt fumble, Mark Sanchez, and even this year, Rex Ryan was still trying to be a head coach. Applied for a few jobs, tried to go back to the Jets, tried to go back to other places. Nobody wanted him. And here he is, yelling and screaming to Shedeur Sanders to do what he's done his entire career. Even though what Rex Ryan said was disproven and proven to be false by many, with proof, with pictures, nobody in the media, nobody on ESPN has told Rex Ryan that he needs to apologize to Shedeur Sanders. Nobody has called out Rex Ryan in the media, period. They've said what Rex Ryan was saying could have been wrong. They've said what Rex Ryan has said might have been misleading. They've said what Rex Ryan said was unpleasant, was distasteful, but nobody told Rex Ryan, you lied. You were completely wrong. Nobody asked Rex Ryan to come back on ESPN and tell the people, since you said Shedeur Sanders should shut up, should sit up front in the meetings, should pay more attention, should be in his playbook more, to tell us where you got that information from, Rex. None of his colleagues have said, Rex, everything you said has been disproven. So where did you get your information? Who told you this? Or were you just speaking to be heard? See, because what people on that side of the media say, they are never held accountable because of what Rex Ryan said to the millions of people who were watching, and then was retweeted and reposted by Adam Schefter, who has over 11 million followers on Twitter. Ain't no telling how many on Xbox, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, because I'm sure he posted that in all of those places. That one lie affects Shedeur Sanders' career. But Rex Ryan has not been made to recant his story, to apologize, to say he was wrong about the statement that he made about a player who has done nothing wrong. True, you might have not liked the statement that Shedeur made, but it doesn't give you the right to lie to a national television audience that has been reposted to millions and millions and millions of people around the world. Y'all don't know nothing about that right there. But yet and still, Rex Ryan has not been held accountable. Now, I haven't seen Rex Ryan back on ESPN, back on Get Up. But yet and still, those words has affected how people look at Shedeur, think about Shedeur, how people react to anything else Shedeur has done. Shedeur has been a headline in the news all season long. And people keep saying, why are we talking to a third string quarterback? Because you keep wanting to talk to him. But this is the NFL. In the NFL, quarterbacks are supposed to be silent. Quarterbacks are not supposed to be heard. Quarterbacks are supposed to keep it a minimum. In the NFL, you are not supposed to have a personality. In the NFL, you are not supposed to be emotional. You are not supposed to have feelings. You're just supposed to be a barbarian and not care about what people think about you, what people say about you. The words that they say can affect your career, the money you make, the sponsors you get, the endorsements you're able to sign because of one person on ESPN. Now, Shedeur Sanders has not been seen in a positive light by many because he's the son of Deion Sanders. But the NFL itself is racist and uses race in different areas of this game. The white players that talk and have a little swagger and talk out of turn and say the things that the black players can't say. You know, they are thought of differently than the black players that say the same things. But the black players are aggressive. They're loud. They're arrogant. The white players, they chillin'. They're passionate. They're boisterous. They're charismatic. Joe Burrow does some of the same things Shedeur Sanders does, but he's not thought in the same way. I'm just saying. This show me where I'm wrong. The NFL has a racist standard. They have different standards for people of different colors. The black players supposed to just shut up and play football. The white players can ask the players on the field, you like that? They can be in the locker room. Do you like that? Do you like that? He cool. Black player can't do that. Let's take Colin Kaepernick. Didn't say a word. Took a knee. Other players took a knee. The NFL and its owners didn't like that. Jerry Jones went so far as to tell his players, if you take a knee during this national anthem, we're going to get you out of here. Even though Colin Kaepernick told you, we're not disrespecting the flag. We are respecting it. I spoke to a veteran, a Navy SEAL, who told me the best way to do what I'm doing is to take a knee during the national anthem if I don't want to stand and put my hand over my heart. The best way to honor those people who lost their lives, those people who fought in combat, those people who protect and serve our country day to day around this world, is to take a knee. And a lot of NFL owners, head coaches, GMs took offense to that. A lot of offense. So much offense the owners took to it that Colin Kaepernick was never allowed to play in the NFL again. They colluded to keep him from playing in the NFL because they said it was a distraction. No. Because of the reason. Not because it was a distraction. It's because of the reason. 85% of the players in the NFL are black. 100% of major owners of the NFL are white. Let's jump to present day. Charlie Kirk was murdered on a college campus. These are the same NFL owners that said keep politics out of sports. We don't want Colin Kaepernick in here bringing your political views into our sports arenas. Oh boy, see. Charlie Kirk, murdered, not assassinated, murdered on a college campus. Charlie Kirk's a racist. Ain't no ifs, ands, or buts about it. It is what it is. But the president of the United States told NFL owners when Colin Kaepernick was taking a knee that when Kaepernick and other players were taking the knee, that I would go up to every player and tell that son of a bitch, you're fired. Now that's what they said. That's what your president of the United States, Donald Trump, said. Because we don't want to talk about that black action that's happening over here. We want to keep politics out of our sports arenas. You messing up our Monday Night Football. You starting to mess up our profit margin, messing up our bottom line, talking about police killing unarmed black men and women in the streets. We don't want to talk about that. If you want to talk about that, you keep that out of our arenas. Charlie Kirk was shot and killed on the college campus. And on that same Sunday, after Charlie Kirk was murdered, those same NFL people that told Colin Kaepernick to shut up and get out for talking about your politics held a moment of silence for Charlie Kirk being murdered during, before, and after their games. The same people that told you keep your politics out of our arenas held Charlie Kirk's funeral in a football arena in Arizona. Race matters. Politics matter. Race matters in the NFL. And racism is prevalent. Shedeur Sanders is a young, black, African-American quarterback with a famous and rich father. And this week, when he took to the microphone, when the microphones were put in his face and asked questions, he didn't say much, because the week before, he was told to shut up, get in your books, get to the front of the class. Even though all those facts were proven wrong, no one has said anything. The media hasn't spoke up about their colleague putting out false information and making him retract his statement. They haven't called out their media counterpart to do what's right and fix what he's broken. So Shedeur Sanders does the one thing that he was asked to do.
Vocally, anything to say about
Enjoying yourself and having fun.
What can you say?
How much is Joe important for us Van Hill and guys like
After that silent interview, the NFL and all of its pundits have completely lost their minds. They have so much to say about what Shedeur didn't say. After the previous week, after a few days ago, being told to shut up. Don't say nothing. Keep your mouth closed. So when he was asked questions, he didn't say nothing. And yet and still, the world has a problem with it. It is being shown and talked about on every media outlet, nationally, internationally, local, every podcast, major, small, independent, has talked about this exact thing. Everybody has an opinion. Everybody thinks they know what Shedeur should do. What Shedeur should do is what Shedeur wants to do. The Cleveland Browns have not treated Shedeur Sanders in a proper, fair assessment since he's been there. Simply because Kevin Stefanski did not want Shedeur Sanders in that building. But Kevin Stefanski was outvoted. There's one person that told Kevin Stefanski, that's my guy, and you gonna draft him. You and Andrew Berry. Of course, Shedeur Sanders was laid. The Shedeur Sanders pick was laid at the feet of Andrew Berry by the owner, saying that's Andrew Berry's pick, not mine. He also said that Kevin has been told that both of the rookies need to be seen this season. Now, the world has something to say about Shedeur Sanders, even when he has nothing to say. When he talks, you want him to shut up. When he shuts up, you tell him how he should shut up. And still don't want him to shut up. You want him to talk. You just want him to tell him what he should say when he talks. Emmanuel Ocho is the biggest proponent of this. Emmanuel Ocho always goes way too damn far with his takes. But this time, Emmanuel Ocho said, if Shedeursanders wasn't black, he wouldn't be acting like this.
Out at the Browns facility. I hate overanalyzing everything, but sometimes when things are weird, they're just weird. If you're working out on your off day and you're on the roster, why are you not working out at the facility? I don't know that I've ever seen a player active in season on an off day working out of the facility. These are the things that are just weird to me. I saw it and I said, you're being paid by the Cleveland Browns. They're a multi-billion-dollar organization with a multi-million-dollar facility. You have teammates that are multi-million-dollar athletes. Why aren't you working out at the facility? Why aren't you working out with your QB coach?
Because if you have followed Shedeursanders like we have his entire life since about 7, 8, 9U football, he works out at the facility. And then when he leaves the facility, he go work out again. See, that's what dedication looks like. That's what honing your craft looks like. It's probably why Ocho is out of the NFL right now. This is what perfection and being great at your craft looks like. You put in the work at practice. Then you work after practice for a little while longer at the facility. And then when you leave the facility, you go, you rest, you get some treatment, you eat, you refuel. And what does Shedeursanders do? He go work some more. He goes back out and does more work. See, that's the part that they're not telling you. He does more than what's required and what's asked of him, because he knows when his time comes, he has to hit it on the mark because of the way that people see him, because of the hatred that people has for him, his father, and that family, because people think that you are entitled, and because he is black, he has to work harder and be better than everyone else.
Talent does not match your distraction, then they will not make room for you.
If he wasn't a black quarterback that came in with that swagger to act like he didn't need the NFL, his dad is who his dad was, this won't be no conversation.
NFL played a part, Shedeur played a part. Everybody acknowledge both parts that were played. That's all I'm asking.
And what's Shedeur's part, so I'm clear?
The part is this. Shedeur could have carried himself differently going into it. At the NFL Combine, he could have thrown.
So what happens when top prospects go to the Combine and they don't run?
If he wasn't black, I don't think he would have acted like this. You feel me? Because the culturally, that's how Shedeur. You feel me?
This is crazy.
It's a new. But for real though,
yo,
like what white people don't, what white person carries himself like Shedeur?
Jackson Dart got some swag to him though.
Did y'all hear that? If Shedeur wasn't black, he wouldn't be acting like this. What the freak? Did you see how shady and the other dude looked at him like, did you really just say that?
Carried himself differently going into it. At the NFL Combine, he could have thrown.
So what happens when top prospects go to the Combine and they don't run?
If he wasn't black, I don't think he would have acted like this. You feel me? Because the culturally, that's how Shedeur. You feel me?
This is crazy.
It's a new. But for real though,
yo,
like what white people don't, what white person carries himself like Shedeur?
Jackson Dart got some swag to him
And
though.
Jackson
But
Dart-
see, but
Jackson
even,
Dart-
but even that, the chat is saying like, yeah, when Jackson Dart does it, it's called swagger.
Yeah,
it's
come
called
on.
it's called he's hype.
Come
He's called
on.
it. But when Shedeur does it, he's cocky.
Come
he's
on,
arrogant.
come on.
They ain't lying. Like I told you, standard, color. Most people won't admit it, but the NFL is still racist. Those owners are still racist. All of this racial tension in sports because the black guy just needs to be quiet. We want you to make your noise on the court, on the field, not in the news. We don't want you to be yourself. We want you to be vanilla. We don't want you to talk and give your explicit opinion on how you really feel about things that are happening or taking place in the NFL. We don't want you to say that. Don't tell me how you really feel about your teammates. Don't tell me how you really feel about that other team. Don't tell me that you're better than other players in the league and we haven't seen you play yet. Don't tell me that you're good until we tell you to tell us that you're good. That's the problem. People like Shedeur that don't conform to the norms of the NFL is the problem. Shedeursanders is a disruptor. Without being in your face, you come looking for him. Shedeursanders walked into the NFL big as the NFL, and they don't like that. But they added to the problem when they made sure that he would not be drafted. The Cleveland Browns compounded the problem when they drafted him in the 5th round after they drafted Dylan Gabriel. Kevin Stefanski made it worse by not giving him a fair playing field in OTAs, in fall practice. The Cleveland Browns and ESPN Cleveland expanded the problem with that quarterback tracker during fall practice, during OTAs, during preseason. All to try to make a young man look bad, and he has proven you wrong at every turn. Stephen A ain't got no problem with it. And Stephen A is someone in the black community that we don't trust. We don't hang on every word that Stephen A. Smith talks. But every now and then, he makes a little sense.
Understand that Dylan Gabriel needed to start. He's going to be 25 by December. He was in college for 6 years, played about 64 games. He's got some experience, and we know he can play, so let's see what he does. That's fair enough. The flip side, however, is this. Why you got Joe Flacco at QB2 when you know it should be Shedeursanders? See, this is the stuff that makes you think for a second and say, you know what? Politics. Because Joe Flacco is a stopgap for the young thoroughbreds coming in and making room for them. And he doesn't mind serving the role as mentor and all of that stuff because Father Time catches up to all of us. And he's no longer what he used to be. And so that's just the way that it's going to go. We all know this. Why are we tripping? Why are we acting like Shedeursanders doesn't deserve to be the QB2? Why are we acting like we're not going to see this brother before the season's over? Because unless Dylan Gabriel goes out there and play lights out, you know the Cleveland Browns are going to insert Shedeursanders at some point. And I think it's going to be maybe not sooner than later, but I don't think it's going to be too late before we see that. So what's the problem? I mean, it's Shedeursanders here. Yes, it is Deion Sanders' son. Yes, maybe, just maybe, it should have been a little less talking. I don't have any problem with Shedeur Sanders telling the Baltimore Ravens he didn't want them to pick him because nobody is getting in front of Lamar Jackson, and he knows that. And maybe Deion shouldn't have represented them, or he shouldn't have been saying, you're going to go where I want you to go. If we don't like the team that picks us, then boom. Because we all know that Shedeur Sanders shouldn't have fallen to 144th in the 5th round. We know this. Okay? But in the end, it is what it is, and we can move on from there. All I'm saying is that Joe Flacco has proven to you that there's been a precipitous drop-off. And you really, really want him there holding a clipboard and mentoring the young dudes. You don't want him there as the QB2. Why are you acting like you do?
Problem there is, I really don't care about Shedeur being QB2. Because Kevin Stefanski can't go back to Joe Flacco. Joe Flacco is done. After Dylan Gabriel gets his turn, if Dylan Gabriel is not balling out, if Dylan Gabriel is not showing that the moment is too big for him, Shedeur Sanders is next on the list. You have to give him his due. And I've told you on many occasions, Dylan Gabriel better hope he gets to go first. Because if he doesn't, he won't see the field. Understand that Shedeur Sanders is the best quarterback in that room. Understand that Shedeur Sanders has told you when you have the cheat code, it's all easy for you. Meaning, this playbook is not new to me. These plays, I've been running them for the last 2 years. I know this stuff already. And like I've told you many times during the preseason, this is why you didn't see Shedeur Sanders with the first team offense. This is why you didn't see Shedeur Sanders. And you won't see Shedeur Sanders until it's time for him to get on the field doing a real live game. You will not see Shedeur Sanders playing with the better side. They didn't even let him practice because they know he's better. They saw it once or twice. That's why that sideline lights up. That's why you heard Myles Garrett told Shedeur Sanders, you're going to have to learn how to slide because we going to need you. Do not get hurt. We are going to need you. They know what they have. They just don't want you to see it. Jason McCourty is another one. And it's a long list of them that has a problem with Shedeur Sanders.
It's hard for a guy like Shedeur where you've been a superstar for majority of your life and you've been the one in the spotlight. Now the media is showing up in the locker room and the only time they're coming to talk to you is not about your play, it's not about something you did in a game on Sunday. It's more for a reaction of what's going on around you. The one thing I'll say is no team in the NFL wants their third string quarterback to be going viral for anything inside of the locker room. So I don't know what the reasoning is behind him doing the interview and not saying any words and just mouthing. I don't know if it's purely he made a bet with somebody in the locker room and look how I handle these interviews, but I think there's a maturity to it that you got to grow up in the league. You may not always have the circumstances you anticipate or the ones that you want, but I don't think that those are the actions that you want possibly your future starting quarterback in the NFL to have at any point throughout the course of their career.
See? You're speaking on something, once again, that you have no knowledge of, but you have an opinion because someone asked you. Shedeur Sanders not saying anything was a response to somebody telling him to shut up. And I'll ask you again. Shedeur Sanders is the third string quarterback on the Cleveland Browns. Who's the third string quarterback on the Dallas Cowboys? Hell, that's my team, and I don't know. Who's the third string quarterback on the Buffalo Bills? You don't know. Who's the third string quarterback on the the Los Angeles Chargers, the Los Angeles Rams, the Las Vegas Raiders? We know who the third string is on the New York Giants. You want to know why we know who the third string is on the New York Giants? Because he got swagger. Because him and Shedeur moved the needle. Y'all ain't tripping on Jameis. Jameis is cool. Jameis got swag. Jameis get nice. Jameis got good one-liners. Y'all love Jameis Winston. Also a third-string quarterback. But there's only 2 third-string quarterbacks in this league that you know who they are. One of them is ultra famous. And one of them got swagger and funny and a vibe. You know, Jameis is a vibe. He cool to hang out with. He make the other quarterbacks feel comfortable. Shedeur is arrogant, loud. Shedeur don't bother nobody. Y'all come looking for him. And then when he give you the answer and you tell him he shouldn't say that, well, don't go bother him. Because he's not going to sugarcoat things for you. He was raised by deionsanders. And y'all think he going to give y'all one of them cookie cutter answers to make you feel better. No, he going to give you the truth. He going to give you what you need, that word. He going to give you that business. He going to give you how he feels honestly. Not that coach speak. He gonna talk that talk. But y'all will say, no, you can't talk like that because you ain't played. Well, get out my face. Don't come asking me no questions if you don't want me to tell you for the real. Because you're not gonna get that over here. That is your problem. You go searching for him to get a sound bite. You ask him a question, and when he is completely honest with you, you say, don't say that. No, well, don't come over here bothering me, asking me no question. Go ask Joe Flacco. Go ask Dylan Gabriel. Because know who lockers y'all ain't standing at? It's Joe Flacco and Dylan Gabriel. But it's 9 of y'all standing around shedeursanders. And y'all want to get mad at him because he's supposed to be quiet when he is contractually obligated to talk to the media. You want me to play by the rules, but you want to define the way I talk. You want me to be quiet, but you want me to talk. But you don't want me to say what I want to say. You want me to say the things that make you feel good. We don't do that. That's not how we get down. But I'm gonna have to say the rest of this for my live stream because I can do this for a very, very, very long time. Because I can go over here to my shedeursanders feed, and you see right here where shedeursanders is not posting these. This is what shedeursanders does. He goes out into the community. You know what I'm saying? Did you read this? It says, FYI, this was taken last Friday at my local high school. No publicity, no media. He just did it because he's a member of our community and wanted to show support for the local kids. He just showing up places. Just random areas of the community. He just showing up. This is Bruce Arians. Ask the same question I asked. Why y'all bothering the third string quarterback? This is ESPN. No, this is 92.3 The Fan. in Cleveland. You see that title right there? Stop putting cameras and microphones in his face of the third string quarterback. He was never going to be the backup. That is correct. And then y'all want to get mad because he gives you what you ask for. You ask for an interview. You ask for him to talk to you. But yet and still, when he say something, you want to get mad. The NFL is still racist, just like our country is still racist. But y'all keep telling black folks to be quiet. It's not going to happen. There are those of us who really don't give a shit how you feel. We going to say what we want to say. And if you don't like it, you can go over there. Because your feelings are not our priority. And if you don't want to hear it, then turn it off. If you don't want to see it, then don't watch it. If you don't want to follow him, then block it. There is a myriad of ways for you not to get the things that you don't like. There is so much propaganda and racism on this internet. You know what I do? Block, 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 block. Don't want to see it. Don't want to see it. Don't want to see it. Remove it from my algorithm. The same way I removed the racist people that said they were my friends from my life. You can't be my friends if you don't value me as a person, my race of people. We can have different ideas, but you can't be my friend if the things that you believe in and the people that you follow think that I don't matter and my race of people don't matter. The people that look like me don't matter. We cannot be friends. We can't even be associates. Hell, don't call me. That's how that goes. Politics and life are one and the same. We have the most divisive president in the world. Make America great again. When was America ever great? What part of Make America Great Again did you think America was great? What year was it? What century was it? When, where? Who was in charge when you thought America was great? That's what I want to know. Because they said again, that means they want to go back. Hell, it's been 60 years and we just getting our freedom. We ain't far removed. So tell me when America was great for me and my people and people that look like me. You got a president that's telling the world that migrants and immigrants and people coming into this country of Mexican, South American, African, and anybody that ain't white that's coming into this country is a rapist, is bringing disease, is a criminal. People are losing their jobs. People are losing their homes. And if that's what you believe in, get off my timeline, get out my life. I don't want anything to do with you. If you don't know what's going on in the world, and if you believe any of that, and if you support any of that, and your mama. I'm out of here. I'm going to holler at y'all. Peace.